Hello. Here we are, live. Okay. Hope my audio is working. Let me know as you're coming in. Thank you for watching the replay. Gonna settle in here. Get adjusted. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? Oh, everybody, starting to come in. Glad to see you. Let me know if you can hear me. Gonna just kill some time for a moment here while folks come in. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me okay? If you can't, let me know. Or how are you doing? Where are you watching from? Comment. Let me know where you're watching from, how you're doing. It's probably for most of you either around noonish or 3 something. So we're either in the middle of our workday or we're hanging out. Jeline, hi from Montreal. Y from Pennsylvania. Susan Bowen, loud and clear. Thank you, my dear. I'm glad to see you. Adele's here. Hello, hear you. Great. I love it. Susan and Adele, both in the Eat to Live family, showing up for some extra love here. So glad to see you guys. Hi. Thanks for watching the replay. For watching the replay, there is no agenda today. It's just a live Q&A, just hanging out. Hey, Stacy from upstate New York. Good to see you all. There's no agenda today. So this is a live Q&A. I was trying to think of something I could talk about if there were no comments in anything, but let's just keep it social. Let's hang out and let's see if something comes up. I mentioned Jess, Eat to Live family member. Happy to see you. Danielle, also Eat to Live family member. I don't remember all of your names, but it's so nice when I see the ones that I'm familiar with because y'all interact a lot and talk a lot. Eat to Live family is the monthly group coaching membership I have where there's tons and tons and tons of folks who are changing their lives, eating healthy, learning how to be consistent. Hello, Facebook user. I don't know who that is, but it's good to see you. So no agenda. So nice to see you, Jess. So let me know, does anyone want any coaching on anything? That's something we could do. I could coach you on any issues you might be having. And the way that we would do that is you would just type in the comment section anything that you are struggling with. And, or do you have any general Eat to Live questions? Put them in the comment section here and I will answer them. Any questions about, a question came up the other day on a coaching call in the Eat to Live family. We were talking about, hello, Pamela from BC, Canada. So nice to see you. Blessings back. So we were talking about quantities and she made a statement that was something like, I can't seem to lose weight anymore. And I hear this a lot from folks. This is a recurring theme in the audience that I hear about a lot. And, you know, of course, our first reason for following Eat to Live is to eat to live, right? So that we can have good health. But for many of us, that includes wanting to lose weight. And so sometimes, you know, we focus on weight loss a lot, but really we're focusing on weight loss in order for the longevity and health benefits, right? Chantal, hello. Nice to find me live. Oh, from the Netherlands. That's fun. Welcome. Actually, I have a cousin who some of our family is from there. Here's a good one. This kind of goes with everything else I was just saying. Charlene, hello, one of the Eat to Live family members as well. Hi, Sherry and everyone. Okay, so Holly asks, when you're trying to lose weight, do you track calories or just stay within the guidelines and eat whatever you want? This is a great question, especially for those of us who maybe haven't been doing it for very long and we're coming over with some habits from other dieting advice, right? So Holly, great question because tracking calories. So first of all, no, we don't track calories. That's one of the first things that we try to let fall to the wayside. We don't want to be tracking calories anymore. Why? And Alex, this sort of goes into what I was talking about when I was talking with my client the other day too, that tracking calories makes it so that we are kind of I'm trying to think of the word. There's a word here I'm looking for. It's just like it's focusing in too much, right? Like focusing in on details too much. And what we're looking to do here. So you say just stay within guidelines and eat whatever you want. Yes, that's where we want to go. Okay, so that's where we want to be after we're done losing the weight. I would say because depending on the person, some people are going to want to gain weight. Some people are going to want to lose weight. Some people are just going to want to maintain, depending on metabolism, age. For teenagers, for instance, who are eating the nutritarian diet, they more want to gain weight. They more want to not worry about it. They don't want to lose weight at that point. For folks who have a naturally super high metabolism, they would want to eat massive quantities of things. So let me explain a little bit what I mean by this is that for those folks who aren't looking to lose weight, yeah, it's just stay within the guidelines and kind of eat whatever you want there, right? So you're eating all the G bombs and all that, but you're if you've already gotten to your goal weight, you're not worried so much about the ratios of different types of food on the Eat to Live diet, okay? But if you are trying to lose weight, this is the time to get precise, okay? So actually, I've been looking for this word for a while. I keep saying the word strict, and that is not the word that I want to use. Precision is the word that I want to use. Because there isn't as much negative connotation with the word precision as there is strict, right? Because strict feels like we are giving something up and that we have to compromise. Whereas precise is more of this idea that we're just going to be super precise for a moment. And then when we lose the weight, we can be less precise. Okay. And so what do I mean by precision? And this is what I was talking about with my client in the Eat to Live family on our coaching call just a couple of days ago. It was this idea that when you can't lose weight anymore, right? Or you are having trouble losing weight, usually what happens is it's just your precision is off. This is math, right? So you could look at it like calories in, calories out. That's not how we want to look at it, because we don't want to have to count things and be super strict about this counting. But when I mean precision, I mean like we could measure stuff for a little while, and we just want to understand the ratio that we're looking at here. So let's talk ratios. What are the sort of food groups that we eat on the nutritarian diet? We have nuts and seeds. We've got greens and non-starchy vegetables. We have beans. We have starches, grains, and then we have and then we have fruit, and then we have the limited foods, which are super healthy, but we want to limit them. So the first thing we want to do is make up the 90% of our diet, 90% of our diet in the first things I said, which are the G bombs, right? So the greens, the non-starchy vegetables, the beans, the nuts and seeds, and the fruits, the berries, right? Those are the things we want to be 90% of our diet. And then the rest of it, when we're in weight loss mode, can be sort of the limited foods, which are still nutritarian, but they are avocados, dates and dried fruits, grains and starches. These are the kinds of foods that we want to sort of limit in the beginning, meaning maybe don't even eat them in weight loss mode. And for me personally, I did go off of those things for a long time while I was trying to lose weight. Now I don't even really want or need those things anymore, because I worked to get those sort of out of my life for a bit so I could lose the weight. And now I don't even really add them that back in very often. So then we're looking at sort of the bulk of you can have some of them, but you just want to make sure that those are quite limited, and you do want to measure those to stay within guidelines. And then you're looking at the bulk of what you're eating, which is sort of the G bombs, those things I mentioned before, these unlimited foods, but we do want to limit some of them. So in Eat to Live and various other books, he talks about how you can eat unlimited amounts of beans and fruits and things like that, but that you want to keep, very limited on your nuts and seeds, things like that. I personally think that it's wise in weight loss mode for us to just limit everything but greens and non-starchy vegetables. Just limit everything but that in the beginning. So we're talking tons and tons of greens. We're talking cups and cups and cups, 7 to 10 cups of non-starchy vegetables and greens per day, cooked and raw, right? I prefer raw in the beginning because it takes up more space and because it's not as easily digested as cooked. So it makes you feel a little more satiated when you're in weight loss mode, right? So we lean towards smoothies and huge salads and things like that. And we kind of lean off of cooked foods just a little bit in the beginning here while we're getting used to this. But so you're looking at this ratio, right? Now look at the ratio. You want your 7 to 10 cups of food to be raw, non-starchy vegetables and greens. And then the rest is, okay, I'm going to have 3-4 fruits per day. One of those is definitely berries. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 ounces of nuts and seeds. I know Dr. Fuhrman says 1 ounce of nuts and seeds, and that's a great recommendation if you are not limiting the other foods. But I find that I can eat more nuts and seeds when I'm cutting back on all the other limited foods, avocado, dried fruits, all that kind of stuff. So 1, 2, 3 ounces, something like that. 3 to 4 fruits. I keep it to a half a cup of beans per day. Now look, you could have a cup of beans per day and have less nuts and seeds. You see what I mean? That's the ratio there. But you kind of want to keep it in that ratio. And then, let's see, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, nuts, and seeds. Yeah. So that's kind of the bulk of it. That's sort of what I keep it to in the beginning. But the biggest point here being as many greens and as many non-starchy vegetables as you can. And that's where most people usually go wrong, thinking they can't lose weight anymore. It's because they're just eating too many limited foods. It's because they're not eating enough greens and they're eating more beans and fruits and nuts and seeds to the exclusion of greens and non-starchy vegetables. Okay. So that's my advice for you. I know that was kind of long, but I always have a lot to say about these things. Great question though, Holly. Thank you. There's there's my mom, the one who seems like a total creeper, but actually she's being very, very sweet in the comment section here. You are so beautiful. All these kinds of things. I'm not going to go into everything else she says. I don't know if you guys can see her comments, but she's being very silly. She's trying to throw me off, I think. Hey, Mom, I love you. Okay, Pamela's question is weaning off alcohol when you need some wine if you get a bit depressed. So how to do this basically is your question, Pamela. Yeah, great question. So when you need, so the way I'm seeing this is you are trying to wean off alcohol and sort of what do you do if you get a little depressed and you need some wine, right? Okay. So from a life coaching perspective, I'm going to give you my life coaching answer here because I could tell you, oh, just have a glass a week and call it good, right? I could tell you what to do, right? No, I'm not going to do that because it's your path here. But what I'm going to tell you briefly is that the behavior of drinking wine to change your feeling, right? Drinking wine to make you feel better, drinking wine to relax you, that sort of a thing, is a very common behavior. Literally everyone does this particular behavior, but we do it with other things. So we call this buffering. Buffering is, when a video is trying to load and you see that little symbol and it says that the video is buffering, which we don't see as much nowadays, but when I was younger, this used to be a huge problem. It's because the video is trying to load under conditions of like poor internet, right? So it's like, it's trying to maximize the amount of video that you can see when you're not getting a lot of video at a time. So it's like, it's trying to ease the pain of really slow internet by making it pause for a moment, right? And so buffering in our lives is this idea that we're trying to ease the pain of whatever, something, some feeling or some thought or whatever. We're trying to ease the pain of that by using something else to make it feel better. So we have a lot of buffers in our lives, right? Wine for sure, alcohol, food. We do this a lot with food, and that's the majority of what I talk about, but it's all related here. Watching TV, surfing Netflix, surfing the internet, being on your email all the time. Like say, and this comes to mind, you don't necessarily love being a parent every second of the day. So you are on your phone all the time because it makes it feel better to be on your phone than to have to play games that you necessarily don't want to play all the time, right? Or to be present. Or say you're stressed out about something at work and you're really worried about doing this project. So you snack instead, or you sit there and watch YouTube videos instead, or whatever, right? So this is buffering. So using, and we all do this to some extent with many different things. Some people shop a lot, some people, lots of different things. So when we are using a substance to make our feeling change, there is sort of the first advice we look at is, well, first of all, let's just look at that pattern, right? So you have a feeling, which is a bit of depression, and you use wine to try to make that feel better, or to maybe mask it and push it away a bit. But listen, Pamela, the depression is still there, right? When you sober up, or when the next morning, the same exact circumstances exist. Nothing changed. You still have depression. And I'm imagining the next day you would want to get rid of some of that depression by having wine again. And this is how we build habits, right? Brain's really good at learning that kind of stuff. And when it learns that, it creates a strong habit for you, and it thinks it's important for you to have wine in order to feel better. When in fact, what we teach in our coaching is that it's actually our thoughts that are creating our feelings. So the depression, for some folks, there is clinical depression. It's a sort of a different thing, and that's not what I'm referring to here. Medications, things like that can be useful in that case. What I'm referring to is more of that, the lethargy, the melancholy, a bit of depression, as you mentioned, kind of a thing. It's our thoughts that create our feelings. Okay. So first, what I want you to look at is, what are the thoughts that are creating that feeling for you? I've heard many clients say things like, I'm lonely. I wish I had a partner. Or I have a partner and I'm in a loveless relationship, right? Or maybe you're stressed about something and you end up being depressed about it. Maybe, there's a lot of different things that this could be. A lot of folks just sort of get restless, and then they feel like they want to use wine to relax. A lot of people like to celebrate the end of the weekend, that sort of a thing. But there are some thoughts in your brain that are creating that feeling of depression, right? If it's just a little bit of depression we're talking about here, just a little bit of sadness or melancholy, there are thoughts that are creating that for us. And so I want you to sort of look at your thoughts during this process. Now, this is the hard part if we haven't done that before, but we can get really good at this to where we just automatically know what our thoughts are. Maybe the thought is, I didn't do really well at work this week, or I went really off track with my food, or so-and-so yells at me and that made me feel bad, whatever, right? So we have some thoughts about what's going on, which makes us want to use something to get out of that feeling, to get out of that kind of, moo has to make an appearance, out of whatever's going on. So the first thing I want you to look at is, what are those thoughts that you're thinking that are sort of creating that sadness? If you can kind of characterize that in your head and just see that can go a long way towards starting to come out of this. And then what we want to do is we want to notice that all of our overeating and all of our drinking comes from wanting to buffer. It comes from wanting to change a feeling. So we either want to make a feeling better, like we want to augment a feeling and we want to feel celebratory and excited, and this is so great. We want to use alcohol for that, or we want to use alcohol to change a negative feeling, right? To get out of a bad feeling. And first of all, noticing and being aware of these patterns is the first thing to look at. If you can find some thoughts in there that might be causing that for you. And then one of the things we teach in the Eat to Live family is this idea that the way out of this is to feel our feelings instead of using wine to cover our feelings. Okay. So what we're learning and what we teach in the family is how to feel our feelings instead, right? How to feel a bit depressed instead and be okay with that and not cover that up with wine as well and make that issue bigger, right? Okay. So there's some stuff to start on. Okay. Got a lot of great questions here. Galilea asks, what are we doing? We're just doing a live Q&A, Galilea. So we're talking about whatever you want to talk about. Danielle says, oh my God, I love your cat. I love her too, but she's kind of annoying. You can take her for a while if you want. Yeah, you join late, Galilea, but no problem. It's just a live call. So yeah, any questions? We got a lot of questions here to get through. Yeah, Pamela. Okay, so we had some background here, right? So single widowed mom here and homeschooling. It's a crutch. There you go, right? So what I want to say to you, Pamela, is stress from being overwhelmed and and part-time self-employed for sure. Okay, got it. So look at that little context there behind the reason that you feel depressed. It's because of what you're thinking about your situation. Okay. So whatever that story is in your mind about your situation, like this is so hard, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, that is making me feel depressed, right? It's actually not. It's actually what you're thinking about your situation that's making you feel depressed. Because what we say is that our thoughts create our feelings. So it's the way that you're thinking about what's happening in your life. It's the way that you're thinking about what's going on that's causing the stress, that's causing the depression. We create our own feelings, which is at once a little terrifying, but also it is the solution out of those feelings. Because if we want to change those, so if we say our thoughts create our feelings, if we want to change our feelings, all we got to do is change our thoughts. Okay. So you're thinking right now that everything is overwhelming and stressful, and this is a place you're in. And that totally makes sense to be thinking that way because that's a very common thing. But how could we think about our situation differently? How could we, and this is what we do in the Eat to Live family. We do actual like laser coaching. We do hot seat coaching where I would bring someone on, we would talk about your issue and we would actually go into it and I would help you understand how to choose different thoughts about it and how to ultimately create a better feeling so you don't need the wine, right? And so as I was saying, the pattern there is be aware, understand what's happening, see what you're thinking about your situation, like find out what it is that you're actually thinking that is creating that stress. And then let's see if we can just have stress and be okay with it, or let's see if we can make there be less stress. These kinds of techniques is what we teach. So that's kind of where you want to start. Okay. So let me just give you guys a little information here. So I'm going to be here for another probably 10 or 15 minutes. I know I always say that, but I really want to try to stick to it. And then I'm going to go over to Instagram and do the same kind of a Q&A session. So if you want to go to Instagram and talk to me there too, that would be awesome. But I want to just let you guys know about something that's happening. It's not next week. I think it's the week after. Yeah, Memorial Day, the 31st, is when we are doing our first ever 5-day Eat to Live challenge. We are compressing these challenges, making them shorter, and we're going to try to do them more frequently. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing 5-day challenge, 7-day challenge. We're going to kind of see how that goes, but we're going to start with a 5-day challenge. It starts on Memorial Day. We're going to do this 5-day challenge all together. It's free, guys. So I'm going to put up a little link for you here. If you want to sign up for it, it's thewateringmouth.com/challenge. If you go there now and sign up, we will notify you when it's available and you can go get it. Okay. It starts on May 31st. It's an Eat to Live challenge. So we're going to give you recipes, plans, meal plans, all that kind of stuff, grocery list, meal plans. We're going to give you a calendar, all this really good stuff for you to eat to live for 5 straight days. You don't have to think about a thing. We will plan everything for you. All you have to do is go to the grocery store and make the food and eat the food. And this is going to be an interesting one. The reason I wanted to make them shorter is because I want to be there more during these challenges. I want to be and helping you guys through this as well. So I'm going to do live videos every day as we're doing the challenge, just like this. I'm going to do live videos and support that. And then, so that's going to go from the 31st until the 4th of June. And we're going to take the weekend off. And then the next week on Monday is we're going to open the Eat to Live family again. Okay. So we're going to allow more folks to come into the Eat to Live family if you're interested. But we're going to open that right after that challenge is done, right after that weekend. So on June 7th, the Eat to Live family is going to open again. Okay. So I just want to let you guys know that. Pamela says, I am in. Yeah. I would love for you to join us, Pamela. That would be so wonderful. So do the challenge. And then if you guys are interested in taking that a step, because the challenge is all about food, right? But if you want to take it a step further, that's what we teach in the family, which is the mindset stuff. So that will be open right after that challenge. So make sure you guys go to thewateringmouth.com/challenge, sign up. That's sort of the wait list. Oh, and Debbie says, I want to do this, but I'm leaving to see my kids on June 3rd. I'll start. Perfect. But then you still have the recipes, right? So you can finish it whenever you like. So that's what we've decided to do. I think we might take July off and not do a challenge in July just because summer things like that. We might resume back in August or September, but we're going to try to do these on a monthly basis forward after that. Okay. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now. Things are up in the air, but Yeah, and Chantal says 5 days I could do to get back in for sure. It's and that's why I was thinking like 5 days is great. 5 or 7 days, we'll see. This one's going to be 5 days to just kind of get you back in the habit. Okay, so let me answer a few more questions before I take off. As I said, I'm going to go to Instagram after this. So, oh, Danielle says, how bad is it that I don't like onions or mushrooms? I've tried but can't tolerate them. Well, it's not great, right? Like, of course, onions and mushrooms are a very, very important part of this diet. But what I would say is don't let it discourage you from eating to live, right? You can still get plenty of amazing nutrition in other plant-based, high nutrient whole foods. So don't worry about it, I would say, first of all. But I would also say that I've tried but can't tolerate them doesn't mean that someday you will tolerate them, right? Like someday you may get to this place where you find, oh, they're not so bad, right? Or you've just accidentally eaten them so many times that now you're fine with it. I will say that I've tried cilantro 1,000 times in my life, and I am convinced I will never like it. And I think there's a biological thing there. But I will say that I've always hated bananas forever. I mean, I hated bananas I would eat them, but I just hated them for many years. And I can think of probably age 15 to age 25, I'd say, maybe up to age 30. Yeah, age 30. No, even at age 32, 33, because I remember making banana ice cream for my husband. And like, I just don't want it. I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. But I put bananas in my smoothies all the time for creaminess and things like that. If I put too much in, I would hate the smoothie, right? So I had to be very careful about how much I put in because I didn't want to taste any banana. But now, love bananas. Like I love them. I still don't like them super ripe, plain, right? I'm still not a huge fan of that, but it's taken me some time. So just consider, Danielle, it might just take you some time. Oh, Danielle says, hi, mom. Saying hi to my mom. That's so nice. Okay, so let's see. Shannon, welcome from Washington. Oh, this is a good one. Adele asks, cravings question. I can't make a weekly meal plan because I eat what I feel like. There we go. That's a big one, right? So I eat what I feel like is such a common thing that we do, right? Because and I have done this. I can't tell you how many times I've done this. I like made a salad and it's in the fridge, ready to go. Literally all I have to do is pull it out and get my fork. And I don't eat it, right? Like this happened to me so many times and then I just let it go bad and I'm, so mad at myself, but whatever. I've done that so many times because I didn't feel like eating it in the moment, right? So where I was touching on just a moment ago, Adele, there's this idea of any type of overeating or like off-plan eating or anything. We talk about this in the family, which I'm sure you've heard me say, Adele, but any type of off-plan eating or overeating has to do with our feelings. It's 100% caused by our feelings, not by anything else, right? There's nothing else that causes overeating but our feelings. And what I mean by that is like people say, oh, I have such an issue with sugar, or oh, I have such an issue with carbs, or I have such an issue with salty foods. I just need to eat salty foods or whatever. That's not your issue. It's not the food that's the issue. It's your thoughts about the food that are the issue. It's your feelings about the food, the feelings that come up and your inability to process your emotions when that comes up, right? So one of our emotions, for instance, would be craving. It would be desire. Like I must eat that thing, right? You've got a donut sitting in front of you. You can't not eat the donut because you just feel such a strong urge, right? Emotions in our body are like these physical vibrations, we say. So for instance, if you feel the emotion of embarrassment, you feel a physical of your face getting really hot. I mean, you flush, your chest flushes. Things actually happen in your body when you have an emotion. So when you have an emotion of craving, you actually get this feeling inside of you that's like thoughts racing and your mouth waters and, all these physical sensations that are happening in response to that. It's very uncomfortable, right? Many of our feelings are very uncomfortable, especially the craving feeling. And so you said it right there, Adele, which is, I eat what I feel like, right? You are responding to your feelings all of the time, right? So I can't make a weekly meal plan because I eat what I feel like. Now, is that true though? So first we want to look at that statement. I can't make a weekly meal plan, which is a story you're telling yourself, because I eat what I feel like. Like it's not possible for you to make a weekly meal plan. No, I would love to ask you, Adele, have you ever made a weekly meal plan and stuck to it? Yeah, I know you have. I absolutely know you have because I've coached you before, right? I know you've stuck to a meal plan before, even if it's for a day, if it's for 7 days, whatever. I know you've stuck to one before. So if you have stuck to a meal plan before, this statement that you said, I can't make a weekly meal plan, is untrue. It's not true. That's not a real thing. You have been able to do a meal plan before, even using someone else's meal plan, and stick to it. That's been totally possible for you in the past, right? But right now, you, I would think that your statement is a little bit more towards, I don't make weekly meal plans because I eat what I feel like, right? Or that it's not necessarily I can't, but you're in a story of I can't, right? Like you're telling yourself, I can't do this. It's not working, which is absolutely like not true because you have stuck to a meal plan before, but you're responding right now to this thought, I can't make a weekly meal plan, which is making you feel probably frustrated with yourself or angry with yourself or disappointed or whatever. When we feel angry and disappointed and frustrated with ourselves, what do? We eat more crap, right? We eat what we feel like. And what we're not doing is processing the emotions that are coming to us, right? Sometimes the emotion can be just desire, right? Like, oh, you just hear something on TV and you've got to eat that thing, right? Or you see something or you smell something or you think of a food that you love and you just suddenly you have to have it and it keeps coming up and you have a story in your head that you can't possibly resist it. So you end up eating it. But what's actually happening there is you're responding to your feelings. That's all you're doing. You're just telling yourself, I can't do this, which makes you feel desire, urge, whatever in that moment. And then you respond to that desire. So what we teach in the Eat to Live family is how we can process our emotions instead of eating the food. So I was just talking about this a moment ago with the wine question that Pamela brought up, which is that what we're not doing is processing that emotion, right? And then we use wine to cover it up. So we feel a little depressed and then we use wine instead to cover it up. That's the actual issue here is the feeling, the little bit of depression there, which is coming from something you're thinking, right? It's the same thing for Adele. The issue is the craving. It's the what you feel like. That's the issue right there, which is coming from your thoughts. It's like, I really want to eat this, right? Or this would be so much better. Or, you know, that's what's actually happening here. We're responding to our thoughts instead of we're responding to our thoughts, which are creating our feelings, instead of looking at our thoughts, processing it all, allowing it to happen to us, and choosing the salad, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've stood in front of my fridge and been like, not having a salad, don't want it, right? I don't feel like it. I don't want to have it. And that is literally just because of our emotions, okay? eMusic says, thank you for having very clear language about thoughts and emotion versus food cravings. You're very welcome. If cravings are for sure a thing, it's real, but it's a feeling. A craving is a feeling and they're coming from our thoughts. So if we can learn to change the thoughts, that's how we actually change the behavior over time, okay? I'm going to be here for 5 more minutes and I'm going to head over to Instagram. Okay. So if you guys want to chat on Instagram, we're going to do this there too. Just to mention again, we're going to be doing so Adele asks further on this question. I write out my food plan for the day, but I often change my mind. I have cravings for healthy foods that I didn't plan on for the day. Can I have healthy food cravings and unhealthy food cravings? Of course. Yeah, 100%. And you find that the more nutritarian you get, the more you crave healthy foods versus unhealthy ones. And that's just because the brain is a craving thing. It just happens, right? And when we practice craving and we practice responding to craving with food, the brain then starts to get wise and it goes, oh, well, I'm not going to get her to eat Doritos anymore. Now I got to get her to eat peanut butter and dates, right? Or whatever, or tons of banana ice cream or whatever that might be. Not that I know anything about that, but right, those might be the foods that I always craved in the past as well. But that's kind of how that works is your brain gets it like gets onto you. And then it's like, I know what to make her crave now. So if we've never dealt with cravings before by processing our emotions, our brain is just going to continue to crave, and it's just going to crave things that we're currently eating. But any type of overeating is not useful. It's not good for our bodies to be overeating. So it doesn't matter whether it's healthy food or not. We want to be eating what our body needs, right? So the the solution there is to process our emotions and learn how to do that. And we can do that with the tools that these amazing life coaches have, right? That I have in the Eat to Live family. I provide every single tool you'll ever need to cut out cravings in your life in the Eat to Live family. So consider joining because it is powerhouse. Hey, Julie. Yeah, Pamela, the motions of emotions. Mom, love you back. Let's see. One more question, then I got to jet. I'm going to go over to Instagram. Um, mm, mm, mm. This is a good question. I'll just answer this very briefly. Hello, welcome from Florida. Is there anything you did in your pregnancy journey besides taking the prenatal that helped you get the nutrition you and your babies needed at that time? I mean, I am not an example of what to do when you're pregnant. I am not an example. So we'll just say that I did as much as I could in my twin pregnancy. I gained a little less weight. I was able to have smoothies the whole time. But I ended up with gestational diabetes. I was eating meat and dairy at the time to try to regulate that, which I don't recommend. I mean, I recommend if you can stay plant-based and do it all that way, great. I wasn't able to. So while I was pregnant, though, I mean, I have to say my kids are healthy. Everything turned out fine. It's funny, I got my blood tested beforehand, and before pregnancy, my folate was off the charts because I eat so much romaine lettuce all the time and I eat so many plant-based foods that my folate was off the chart. So folic acid wasn't a concern for me because I had so much folate anyways. But you really you have to take it on a case by case basis. And for me, I would just say I'm not a good example of what happened, but I did use a lot of thought work during it. To not beat myself up, to do the very best that I could, and afterwards to just work as quickly as I could to get back on track. Let's see, one more question here. Yeah, and Holly says that she just started Eat to Live and need to get away from calorie counting for my sanity. Yeah, for sure. I mean, calorie counting is not useful because it just, as you're talking about, it just kind of makes you a little insane, right? Like when you have to weigh and measure everything and you've got to count calories or count your points or whatever it is, you are tied to a system that you can never then you can never break away from, right? It's like handcuffing yourself to some type of a system. What we want to do is we want to be able to control all this with the power of our own thoughts. We all have this ability. We just need to practice it. Okay. That's what we teach in the family. Chantal asks, if you can't get the fruits like berries organic, is it better to get them frozen? I would say so. Yeah. I don't ever buy non-organic fresh berries for this reason. There's so many pesticides and stuff. We often buy non-organic frozen because the pesticides are less, the chemicals that they spray on them or whatever is a little bit less. And typically they have the same or better nutrition because they're flash frozen right away so that they don't even have the transit time, right? And they're not losing nutrition as they are going to the store and waiting for you, kind of a thing. Not to mention how long we let them sit in our fridge until we use them, right? But yeah, I definitely would say get them frozen if you can't get organic. One more question. Levi, I have a serious sweet tooth. Help. Same advice for you as with everyone else. You do not have a sweet tooth. You have an issue dealing with your emotions. You have an issue dealing with your cravings, with the urges, right? And so when we can get good to deal with the urges, deal with the emotions that come in, then we don't need food to buffer or mask that kind of a thing, okay? Let's see, what else we got? Who else? Samantha asks, how to help clients who are new to this learn a way to track intake for insight but not restriction when they've never done it and feel overwhelmed by it. So Samantha, I was touching on this a little bit before. You just want to measure your food in the beginning, as in cups and teaspoons and tablespoons and things like that. Just measure it in the beginning. One thing I would suggest, I mean, you can do that. Wait, actually, my better suggestion is have them follow a meal plan for weight loss. So they know how much to eat in order to lose weight and in order to feel satiated. And I'm going to put in a plug for my stuff here because I would not recommend following anyone else's meal plans for this. I would recommend following our meal plans because our meal plans are set up, and people are always talking about this in our challenges, our 21-day challenges. They're set up to give you a ton of food so you feel full and satiated and still be able to lose weight. I think that's the beauty of the Eat to Live diet, is that you actually get to eat more bulk than you ever have before. You don't have to do like smaller portions, that kind of thing. In fact, you should be eating a ton of food. And so many people in the challenges will say they cannot believe how much they ate and how full or satiated they feel, and they still lose weight the next day. Okay. I've had people lose up to 25 pounds in 21 days doing this. Those folks started off quite overweight, right? So it's relative here. But for folks who are just starting out, try a meal plan like we have. So I would suggest, have them hop in on a 5-day challenge with us, or I have a free 9-day challenge on my website right now that they can try. I suggest doing this first before you start measuring stuff, because if you do a challenge like this and you do it for, say, 9 days, you're going to understand the rhythm. You're going to understand the portions and the quantities of things, and the ratio of like, how many greens should I have to how much nuts and nut butter and things like that, or how many greens should I have to how much beans should I have during the day. Oh, that helped me lose weight. That actually worked. Okay, now I know about how much to do. So I think that's the very best thing to do in the beginning. Allison asks, what starches are allowed or recommended? Any, Allison. You can have any whole food starch. You can have any grain, anything like that. But understand that starches and grains are a limited food. So you don't want to have any more than a half a cup to a cup in the day. If you're trying to lose weight, you might even avoid them altogether because they're not a necessary food. The foods that are necessary on this lifestyle are the G-bombs, the greens, the beans, the onions, the non-starchy vegetables, the mushrooms, the nuts and seeds, and the berries. Okay. So you can have, as long as they're whole foods. But if you're going for weight loss, then you want to maybe cut back or cut them out for a while until you lose the weight, and then you can add them back in. Okay, I've got to go to Instagram now. Maybe I'll do one more question. Oh, Corey says, I'm so sorry to be late. It's my birthday and just got home. You are my present. I watch your videos every day. Thanks so much for everything you do. You're so welcome, Corey. And I just want to say happy birthday. This is amazing. What's today? It's May 19. May 19 is your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm so happy that you're here. And don't worry about being late. There's always a replay. Let's see. Maybe one more. That's it. That's all we got. Allison says, that could be my plateau issue. You're so welcome. No worries. Okay, guys. So I'm going to head over to Instagram now. Go over to Instagram if you want to talk a little bit more. I'm going to go over there for say 15, 20 minutes. And I just want to mention again before I go, the challenge that's coming up, the Eat to Live challenge that is coming up. It's a 5-day challenge. We're going to be starting it on Memorial Day, and it's going to go for 5 days. And then there's going to be a weekend. And right after that weekend, that's when we're opening up the Eat to Live family. You could sign up for the waitlist on the Eat to Live family as well, which is info.thewateringmouth.com. Wait, let me see if I can do this like a weather person. info.thewateringmouth.com/family waitlist. Okay. So that's the address for the family if you're interested in that. So we're going to be doing a 5-day challenge. It's free. You'll be able to, if you sign up at this waitlist here, we will let you know when it's available. You can go get it. And then we would love for you to join with us. Make sure that if you do sign up, Saturday and Sunday are like your grocery shopping and prepping days. And then we're going to eat all the same foods together. We're going to do a couple of sets of recipes. You're going to learn a lot of new stuff. You'll sort of learn that rhythm I was talking about just a minute ago. And we're going to do this all together for 5 days. Then we're going to take the weekend off. And then on Monday, we're opening up the Eat to Live family again. So the challenges are for learning the food part. The Eat to Live family, the coaching membership is for learning the mindset stuff, which is what I'm always talking about with cravings and stuff like that. So make sure that you sign up for that challenge. We'd love to see you in there. And that's it for now. I'm going to try to do these live videos every Wednesday around this time, 12:30-ish. I would love to see you showing up regularly and asking your questions. And for sure, I would really love to see you in the 5-day challenge. Okay. So hope you join that, and we'll see you next week. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.